No one is going to tell you this. Not your friends, not your family, not even the people who secretly look down on you, but they feel it. They see it in how you speak, how you move, how you hesitate. They notice it in the way you laugh too quickly, explain too much, and seek approval without realizing it. And the truth is simple, brutal, and uncomfortable. People don't respect you, not because they hate you, not because they're bad people, but because you haven't become someone who commands respect. Respect is not given, it is not asked for, it is not negotiated, it is felt. And right now, something in your behavior is quietly telling the world that you are not in control. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that respect doesn't come from status, money, or words. It comes from inner discipline, from emotional control, and from the ability to stand firm when most people collapse. And most people collapse constantly. They react instead of thinking. They speak instead of observing. They explain instead of deciding. They chase instead of attracting. If you're honest, you'll recognize some of this in yourself. Because lack of respect doesn't come from one big mistake. It comes from small, repeated signals. Signals that say, I am unsure. Signals that say, I need validation. Signals that say, I don't trust myself. And people pick up on this instantly. Think about the last time someone interrupted you. Did you stop talking? Did you smile awkwardly? Did you try to regain control politely? That moment alone tells people everything they need to know. A person who is respected doesn't fight for attention. They don't raise their voice. They don't explain themselves endlessly. They simply continue, calm, grounded, unshaken. And that's what makes others pause. Because most people are chaotic inside. Their emotions control them. Their impulses dominate them. Their reactions betray them. But when someone stands in front of them who is completely in control, it creates a kind of silent pressure, and pressure creates respect. The problem is, you've been trained to do the opposite. You've been taught to be agreeable, to be nice, to not offend, to explain yourself, to smooth things over, but every time you do that unnecessarily, you lower your presence, you make yourself smaller, and the world responds accordingly. Respect begins where over-explaining ends. If you constantly feel the need to justify your decisions, you are telling people that your decisions are weak. If you constantly try to be understood, you are telling people that you don't fully understand yourself. Strong individuals don't chase understanding. They act with clarity, and clarity is quiet. Look at someone who is truly respected. They don't rush their words. They don't fill silence. They don't react emotionally to every situation. They pause. That pause is power, because in that pause they are deciding, observing, choosing their response instead of being controlled by it. Now compare that to how most people behave. They react instantly. They defend instantly. They speak instantly. And in doing so, they reveal that they are not in control. Control is rare, and anything rare is respected. This is why emotional discipline is everything, not suppressing emotions, but mastering them. Because the moment your emotions control your behavior, you lose authority. The Stoics practiced this daily. They didn't aim to eliminate emotions. They aimed to not be ruled by them. And that's the difference between someone who is respected and someone who is tolerated. Another silent signal of weakness is inconsistency. If your mood changes your behavior, people cannot trust your presence. One day you're confident, the next day you're insecure. One moment you're decisive, the next moment you hesitate. That instability makes people unconsciously lower your value. Respect requires predictability, not boring predictability, but stable character. People should know what they're going to get from you, not in your words, but in your energy. Calm, controlled, direct, no sudden emotional spikes, no desperate need to be liked, because the more you need to be liked, the less you are respected. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. You cannot be both highly liked and deeply respected by everyone. At some point, you must choose. Because respect comes with friction. It comes from boundaries, from saying no, from not explaining yourself every time someone disagrees. And that makes some people uncomfortable. But discomfort is the price of authority. If you avoid discomfort, you avoid respect. And this is where most people fail. They want respect, but they also want everyone to feel good around them all the time. That's impossible, because a person who stands firm reminds others of their own weakness. And not everyone likes that reminder, but the Stoics didn't care about being liked. They cared about being aligned with their values, their decisions, their discipline, and that alignment created a presence that others could feel. Not loud, not aggressive, just undeniable. You don't need to dominate a room to be respected. You need to be unmoved by it. When others laugh, you don't force a laugh. When others panic, you don't panic. When others try to provoke you, you don't react. That level of control creates distance, and that distance creates authority, because people cannot easily influence you. And when people can't influence you, they start respecting you. But this doesn't happen overnight. It requires awareness. You have to start noticing your own patterns. Where do you over-explain? Where do you react too quickly? Where do you seek approval without realizing it? Those are your weak points. And once you see them, you can begin to change them, not by pretending to be someone else, but by removing what makes you unstable. Because strength is not something you add. It's something that remains when weakness is removed. The Stoics didn't build strength by adding complexity. They simplified. They removed unnecessary reactions, unnecessary emotions, unnecessary words, until what remained was clarity. And clarity commands respect. So the next time you're in a conversation, don't rush to speak. Pause. The next time someone challenges you, don't rush to defend yourself. Observe. The next time you feel the urge to explain your decision, stop. Stand by it. These small changes create a massive shift in how people perceive you, because respect is built in silence, not in noise. And once people start feeling that you are no longer easily moved, easily influenced, or easily shaken, everything changes. They listen differently. They speak to you differently. They treat you differently, not because you asked for it, but because you became someone who no longer needs to. And that is the moment respect begins. If this hit you, good. It was supposed to, because most people will ignore this and stay exactly where they are. But if you're serious about building real discipline, real control, and real respect, then start today. And if you want more content like this, direct, uncomfortable, and real, subscribe now, because the next video will go even deeper.